Let's go over this mystical, magical thing known as a Makefile. Because eventually you'll have to use one, and they scare me. Or at least they did when I started. So, with a script, you can just give executable commands and boop and run it. Power scripts. Eventually you're going to have to work with C in the program. C requires to be compiled. You know that thing that happens when you click run on your editor? That doesn't happen automatically for C. You have to actually tell the compiler to compile it. And you can use a bunch of command lines to do that. Or you can make a makefile. That's the number one way you're going to do it. So you just have to type in the word make, and it makes the file for you, rather than having to type in all those commands constantly every time you make little changes to things. That's what the makefile is. It's just a script to make it where you don't have to run those lines constantly. You just make clean. We'll be able to show you what that does. So if we look at this, these parts are all just variables. You're going to start out by establishing what the compiler is. Compiler flags, it's just a part of your compiler line. You'll type them out a bunch. When you Google what line to compile, it's going to tell you these. We'll get back to those in a second. These are the parts you're going to type in. This is the executable. This is what name you want your files to be. You can have executable, program2, min-max, so you can keep track of them. My programs in this case are program2 and min-max. Then we give it a name. This case, the assignment said make the executable be named homework3. And it calls a file called min-max. So we've got the names. That's what the executable part is. Names. Now what file do we actually get the code from? It's going to be these ones. Source, whatever your name that you're using is, and what is the file name? And then again, what is the file name? For all the files you want to make when you type in make, you're going to do the executable, you're going to do the source, and you're going to do the object files. Objects is usually just the same name, .o, min-max. These are things you're going to be making when you're doing your coding. When you compile, the object file is made with that name. It's just part of how it works. So here's the actual commands that make is doing. When you type make, here's what it's doing. It's going and running these commands for Excel Prog 2 and then for min-max. Well, what is the rules for Prog 2? For Program 2? This one. This is just that command line that we type in, but using variables. What is the compiler? GCC. What is the flags that we want to use? The wall and stdc99. What do we want to name it? What is the object file we're using? Okay. Rules for building the min-max executable. Same format. Which thing? Executable min-max? Okay, cool. What's the object we're doing? Okay, we're going to pass in that variable. See, if you were to put in those things, that would be the exact command line you would use to type them out. Instead of having to do it every single time, you just now have to hit make. And then you get compiling those parts. prog.or, source, boom. Here's the object files being made. Right there. Compiling this object file. Boom. You don't really need to care about the object files except for the fact that they are a way to make this thing executable. You type your code in C, you run the different commands, you get an executable. Now there is make clean. That's this bit. This is taking all the commands you've made and everything that's produced by your Makefile. When you type in make clean, it's going to get rid of them all. So you have a nice clean environment that only has your code left in it. Your code in the Makefile. We have this little bit, they're phony targets. Don't worry about this. If your professor tells you to copy it in, that's nice and all. It just helps with naming conventions. It helps certain things target. I don't fully understand it, but it's there. That's your main thing. It's just, what is my variables? What are the command lines I want to run a bunch of times? And then make clean for getting rid of it. It's honestly a very simple formula. It's just basically a script that does the compile lines for your C code. Very simple, very straightforward, and very easy to make. You just get the basic flow. I'm going to list out all the programs I need. What are their names? What is the object file going to be? Probably the same thing named as this, but with .o. You write your rules for building them. You write your rules for making the executable. You throw in the make clean button, which you just throw all the names on there. It's very simple. Easy to do. You can look it up on Google to find the basic flow, and you do that for every line. Simple enough. It's just kind of fill in a template. It acts all mystical, magical, and they're very scary to begin with, but they're honestly pretty simple.